night's quiet except for hum of your amp. Maybe you're sitting there with a cup of coffee or a little whiskey, just letting the room go still. That's when music really speaks. When it's just you, your guitar, and the ghosts of the ones who came before. And tonight we're going to walk among those ghosts to the crossroads and the juke joints and those smoky stages where myths were born. These are the stories that live somewhere between fact and legend, stories that shaped the heart of the blues. Let's go down to Mississippi Delta, around Hazelhurst, where a boy named Robert Johnson was born in 1911. Life in the Delta was hard, the fields, the heat, the poverty, but the blues, they were everywhere. You could hear it drifting from the front porches, from the juke joints, late into the night. Robert grew up surrounded by it, listening to Son House and Willie Brown, soaking it all in. He had a hunger to play, but early on folks said he wasn't very good. He'd try to sit at the dances and people would tell him to stop. Leave that guitar alone. Then one day he disappeared and no one saw him for months. When he came back, everything had changed. That awkward kid that couldn't keep the crowd's attention suddenly had commanded the room. His guitar seemed alive. It cried, it laughed, it moaned. People couldn't believe it. He played songs like Terraplane Blues, Crossroad Blues, and Hellhound on My Trail, and there was something about it, the way he sang them, like a man who had seen both heaven and hell. And that's when the whispers began. Devil for Gift of Blues. The legend stuck because it fit the man. Robert had an air of mystery. He had traveled from town to town, play a juke joint one night, and then disappear the next. Women loved him, and men wanted to play like him, and everyone swore there was something supernatural about his sound, but the truth is, Robert Johnson didn't need the devil. He had something stronger. He had an obsession. I want to welcome you into Behind the Blues. I'm your host, Davey Jones, where we talk everything music, inside and out, no topic off limits, and I just invite you to grab your guitar, make yourself cozy, grab a cup of coffee or a bottle of whiskey, whatever the day may call for, and just thank you for joining me on this little adventure. And today, I just want to share with you a couple of stories that are kind of myths and legends and kind of the story behind the scenes of some of these famous blues players. Robert Johnson was always accused of going down to the crossroads, but honestly, he really did have something stronger. He had an obsession. During the times that he would vanish, he'd be studying under bluesmen like Ike Zimmerman, who taught him how to make that guitar sing. They practiced deep into the night, sometimes in graveyards where no one would complain, and that haunting sound that people blamed on the devil was really a result of endless hours and calloused fingers and a restless soul. But myths have a way of outlasting truth. When Robert died in 1938, he was poisoned, they say, by a jealous husband. He was only 27 years old. Hardly anyone knew his name. Only a handful of records existed, but decades later, when those recordings resurfaced, musicians like Clapton and Keith Richards and Dylan, they heard something they couldn't quite explain. It was raw, it was eerie, it was pure. Crossroads story might not be true in the literal sense, but it is in spirit. Maybe every great guitar player makes that same deal, like trading a piece of their soul for a chance to express what words never can. And sometimes you don't need a devil for a great story. Sometimes, it just takes fire. It's 1949 in Twist, Arkansas. B.B. King's playing a dance hall on a cold winter night. And back then, they'd heat the place with a big barrel of kerosene in the middle of the floor. And the music was hot, the crowd was wild. Inevitably, two men start fighting. As they're fighting, they knock over that barrel and flames explode across the room, and people ran for the door. And B.B. King made it out, and when he got outside, he realized he had left his guitar inside. And without thinking, he runs back in the burning building to save it. And when the smoke cleared, the fire was out, B.B. King realized that he had just made it out with his life. He risked his life to run back in after this guitar. And as legend goes, as he makes it out with his guitar, the building collapses under the fire. He later learns that this fight was over a woman named Lucille. And from that night on, every guitar he owns was named Lucille, as a reminder for him never to do anything that stupid and crazy again. But that name became more than a memory. Lucille was his voice. When B.B. King played it wasn't just notes, it was emotion, the vibrato, the phrasing, the way he could make one single note say everything you were feeling. He once said, "When I sing, I play. When I play, I sing." And that's what makes Lucille more than wooden strings. She was the sound of his soul. B.B. King came from the cotton fields of Mississippi, too. He was born Riley B. King, raised by his grandmother after his mother had passed away. He started playing on the street corners and found his way to Memphis, working as a DJ for WDIA, first black radio station in the South. They called him the Beale Street Blues Boy, which later got shortened to B.B. King. He had charm and drive and heart, and while he became known for those smooth bends and crystal clear tone, what really set him apart was how deeply he felt every note. When he played Lucille, it's like having a conversation with the past. Every heartbreak, every lesson, every ounce of joy and pain. And his story isn't myth about magic or deals or curses. It's about love and passion. The kind of love and passion that burns bright and sometimes burns you. B.B. once said that every time that he played Lucille, he was talking to her. He was telling her how much he loved her, how much he needed her. Maybe that's the real story, that blues isn't about demons and devils. It's about desire, the things we chase, the things we hold on to, even when they hurt. And just like that old Chicago amp growling to life.
1, 2, 3, 4.
These stories, these myths, these legends, this passion, it doesn't just live down in the Mississippi Delta. It lives even on the south side of Chicago, where a man named McKinley Morganfield was about to plug the Delta into a wall of electricity and amplify the world. And most people knew him by another name, Muddy Waters. Now, he was actually born in Clarksdale, Mississippi, still part of the Delta. In 1913, he was raised on the Stovall plantation. Like many others, he works the field all day and played the blues by night. His first instrument was a homemade guitar. It was a piece of wire nailed to the side of a shack. But when Alan Lomax came through the Delta in 1941, he was recording field musicians for the Library of Congress. Muddy's voice was, and playing it just stood out. Hearing himself on the record, it lit him like fire. He said, "When I heard my voice, I knew I could make it." He left the Delta, moved to Chicago in 1943, and that's where everything changed. And he traded his acoustic for an electric, a new sound for a new city. All the trains and the factories and the noise of the street, the blues had to get louder to survive. And Muddy's band was like nothing that anyone had ever heard. Little Walter on harmonica and Jimmy Rogers on guitar, Otis Spann on piano. And together they created modern electric blues. I mean, songs like Hoochie Coochie Man and Manish Boy and Rolling Stone. They had swagger and power and confidence. The blues wasn't just surviving anymore. I mean, it was roaring. But even Muddy had myths surrounding it. Some said he stole the Delta sound, and others say he invented it all by himself. And honestly, as with most myths and legends, the truth lies somewhere in between. And Muddy didn't invent the blues, he amplified it. He took the roots of the Delta and made it bigger and stronger and louder without ever losing the soul of where it came from. He once said the blues had a baby and they called it rock and roll. And he was right. I mean, the Rolling Stones took their name from one of his songs. The British invasion, rock music as we know it, it traces all the way back to Muddy's amplifier humming in a tiny Chicago club. Muddy's story isn't about mystery, it's about transformation. It's about how blues was born out of hardship, sweat, prayer, evolved into something that reached across the world. And he carried that spirit of the Delta into a city and turned pain into electricity. That's not just innovation, that's evolution. So what all these three legends tell us, that maybe myths were never about devils or fires or fame. Maybe they were just a way of understanding something too deep to explain. Robert Johnson's story reminds us that mastery demands sacrifice, and sometimes it takes everything you got. B.B. King's tale shows us that love, even when it burns, even when it's painful, it gives life meaning. Muddy Water proves that the blues doesn't die, it changes, it grows, it keeps on moving. These men didn't just play the blues, they were the blues. And every bend, every slide, every lyric carried a story of who they were, of who we are. And myths made them larger than life, but the truth is that they were human. And that's what makes the blues real. It's not about perfection, it's about emotion. It's about turning pain into something beautiful. So maybe we don't have to stand at the crossroads and sell your soul, even find it. Maybe you just need to pick up the guitar, close your eyes, and listen. Because somewhere inside of those strings, in that one bent note that feels just right, is everything the blues has ever tried to say. Thanks for hanging out with me on Behind the Blues. I mean, if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, looking at myths and legends and stories behind the great blues artist, just take a moment to drop a review, hit follow, share with another fellow blues lover. I'm Davey Jones, reminding you to keep the strings warm, your amps humming, and your soul in tune.